Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on our August webinar on task management. My name's Claire. I'm the marketing manager here at Webvine. Marcus will almost certainly cover most of the things you're hoping to learn, but we will leave some time at the end to address your questions. If you could please enter those into the Q&A section, we'll try and get to all of them. Just before we get started, if I could please get everyone to raise your hand by clicking on the button. There's a little raise hand button on the top left of your screen. To confirm you can hear me and you can see our screen. All right, got a few hands. Thanks, everybody. We're looking good. So I'll hand you over to Marcus for 30 minutes of task management.
Hey everyone, how are you doing? Hope you guys are well. Great to be on this webinar. Hope you like that webinar. Took us ages to come up with that one. This webinar, August webinar on task management, and this is something that's really dear to me. Task management. I don't know if any of you have tried different methods over the years. I mean, I've been in IT now for 22 years, and over those years trying lots of different ways of managing tasks. And it's not so easy, you know, at least it hasn't been for me, and especially managing tasks, you know, with teams and trying to manage them with other people. And so this webinar will cover, you know, certainly going into Planner in good detail, but as well just that process, you know, how do you manage tasks in your teams, how do you get stuff done, and we'll be sharing with you how we do that here in Webvine. I'm just trying to share my camera, but it doesn't seem to want to let me do that, so never mind. I'm sure you can manage fine without seeing me anyway. So let me just flick on here. So obviously task management is really about getting organized, isn't it? You know, having goals, having deliverables, hopefully being able to delegate some tasks, you know, tracking progress of your tasks, and being super clear on what you're doing and what you're going to do. Now at Webvine, we do have like a project management system where we manage all of our projects, and it's super clear what we're doing and who's doing what. And we also set up SharePoint sites with our clients, so we can also share some certain tasks with them, and it's very clear as to what's going on at any one time. But there are a whole lot of other tasks that we do that aren't specific to a project. You know, we have this intranet called Ingeo, which we constantly enhance and develop, and a whole lot of other things. As you know, there's so many other things to do, not just your personal tasks, but work-related stuff that doesn't quite fit into a nice project bucket. So you might be using Microsoft Project or something, things like that for big projects, and that's fine. Obviously, you want to continue doing that. But what about all the other stuff? Over the years, I've tried numerous things like tasks, Microsoft Outlook. I'm sure we're all very familiar. They're pretty much still the same. You know, okay, it's a nice simple list that you can check off, but it's very limiting, and I never found that I could really take to it that well. I tried and move away from it, and tried and move away from it. I've also tried things like, I don't know if you've ever seen this quadrant, you know, of urgent, important, not urgent, not important, and tried that quadrant, putting different tasks in, trying to make sure I got to the important ones, not just urgent ones, because a lot of stuff came up that would come up in a work situation that's urgent but not important, where you spend a lot of time. But that didn't kind of work for me. So here I'm wondering what's wrong with me. You know, I keep going back to paper, and then I have my notebooks, trying to keep on top of that, and still thinking, gee, it's not quite happening. Tried some apps. You know, that was fine for a while, and still, you know, if I was on my computer, it wouldn't be on my phone. I couldn't quite manage that. Again, if you want to share tasks with other people, it wasn't quite so easy. We then had Asana, so certainly used this a fair amount. Not sure if many of you have used this. I'll be asking you in a minute. And that's good. It was really good. Again, I thought this is good. It's a useful tool. We can share. We had used Asana across teams, sharing with other people externally. But somehow, I don't know, I couldn't quite like get to grips with it as well, and it couldn't quite stay on top of it. And I always thought, gee, what's up? What's wrong with me? I just can't really stay super clear on my tasks, on my system for managing tasks. I could do my tasks, but knowing where everything is at was hard. So I'd love to know, how do you guys do your task management? And I'll just launch a poll there. And if you could just quickly um, pop in the poll and just let me know, what you guys are using. That'll be really awesome. Okay, Outlook tasks, physical notebooks, Trello. Okay, OneNote, Asana's got a vote. Okay, mix of things. What else have we got? More, yeah, a couple for. So it seems like Outlook, Planner. Okay, we got someone on Planner. A bit of a mix across the board, and OneNote as well. Nothing or something else. Okay, nothing, something else is probably the winner so far. Okay, so I'll just end this poll, and I'd just love to know as well, like, how successful is task management methodology in your team? So again, if you're using some project management solution that's working well, that's great. Just try and exclude that and think of all the other things you do. I'm wondering, I think people are really struggling with this. Yeah, we got a little, somewhat, non-existent, somewhat. Yeah, we got nothing is awesome so far. None. That's amazing, isn't it? Okay, we got a pretty even split, somewhat, yeah, pretty even, somewhat, a little, and non-existent, and zero for awesome. And I can tell you in Webvine, we will be putting in awesome. So I will really look forward to showing that with you, what we do, because it's not just about the tool, is it? Technology is not the solution. Technology is useful, and technology is very helpful, but it's not quite everything, is it? If it was, everyone would be super efficient, using all the systems they were given everywhere all the time. But that's really not the case. So I eventually came on this guy, Trello, and I know someone said they were using Trello, and I'm just going to show you Trello now because it is very relevant to Planner, as you will see. So basically, Trello is a solution, an online solution. It's free. You can get these power-ups and pay more. I never saw the need. I never had to do that. But basically, the concept is you can create boards. And here, so I've got a new board here. As you can see, it's just completely blank. And I can create a list. Now, when I came across this, I looked up, okay, what's the best way of using this thing? I had a feeling this could really work for me. I really like the interface of it. And I looked up, and this guy said, okay, you know what? Make a list for today, this week. You could have like next week, done. And he also had incoming. And I didn't really find the incoming one that useful, but basically, whenever anything you need to do something, you can just add a card, okay, really simply. And this is an app as well on your phone. And so today, run webinar, meet top 4 bank, which is happening later, and then leave early because I'm going away for the weekend, which I'm really looking forward to doing down the South Coast. So that's what I've got on for today. Now, let's say the meeting gets cancelled, gets moved with the bank. Okay, we're going to move it to this week. Obviously, it's going to be next week because today's Friday, but we can move things around really easily. Yeah, and then it gets shelved again. Obviously, you have it in your calendar anyway, right? But as just a list of what's happening, so you can keep on top of things. I found it just a really great way of managing my tasks. And also, it had a lot of other benefits as well. So if I just click on one of these tasks, I can have a more detailed description. I can add a label. I can add comments to that. I can also add checklists as well to that task, and do something, do something else. Okay, so you can have checklists, and you can add attachments. You can add due dates, and you can also copy an item. You can move it to another board, and or another list. And so I just really like the versatility of it and how you could move things around and do them, and manage that. So that has been a revelation for me, honestly, as you see my history with task management, and I'm quite passionate about it. I do think that if you're very clear on what you're doing and your team is super clear on what they're doing, you can achieve great things without just being at the mercy of your inbox. You know, I regularly turn off my inbox, so I can't see what's coming in for a few hours as I focus on what I'm doing. And this really helps me a lot, or did help me a lot. And I also have other great uses of it. So we run here in Webvine, we build a lot of intranets with SharePoint, and we usually often run information architecture workshops. And so we might get out, in a workshop, perhaps we're using sticky notes on a board, and getting quite creative, and people are writing different things as to what they think their intranet site structure should be. And then we just copy that into Trello board, and we still do this, and we can share that board with our clients very easily, and we can duplicate those boards. You can say, oh gee, I think actually this shouldn't go here, I think it should go over here, or induction should really go under company info, and just move stuff around, duplicate boards, have different versions, and share them with people, and get some quick feedback and quick insights. I've also used Trello. I'm writing a book. I'm almost finished. Hopefully for some of you watching, taking this webinar later on as it's recorded, hopefully you'll see that the book's out. That would be awesome. And it's around transforming your organization with a digital workplace. And this has been fantastic for me for organizing my chapters and my sections. You can see I've got my book chapters 4. I went through a lot of iterations of the structure. And again, I can add quotes from places and all these different things that I need to do. And then obviously the green means, yes, it's totally done. As you can see, it's kind of almost done. Hoping to go to the editor in the next few weeks. But that's been awesome. So it was interesting, though, with Trello, because even though I found it really great, still for managing tasks with the team, I found a little bit tricky. For example, you couldn't really assign tasks to people that easily, or assigning multiple tasks, especially, or assigning a task to multiple people. And clicking done wasn't so obvious as well for people. And also, it wasn't really tailored for tasks especially. As you can see, it's very versatile, and it's really great. You can use it for a lot of purposes, but they didn't decide to just pin it to total task management. And they keep it like that. They keep it pretty versatile. So enter Planner, Microsoft Planner, which is part of Office 365. And I'll share the plans, the E3 and so on plans that you have to actually use Planner. You can see it down here. And so Microsoft have come out with Planner, and we started using it here at Webvine. And besides my book chapters and the information architecture, we've completely moved across, and we use Planner now. As I said, we still use another solution for managing detailed projects, but for all the other stuff, we use Planner. And so if I want to create a new plan, I can just create a new plan, type in a name. I can decide whether I'm going to share it with my organization or certain people, and I can create that plan. And so I'll just pop open a plan. As you can see, it's quite remarkably like Trello. Not sure where they got the idea from at Microsoft, but obviously it's very like it. But there are a few differences, okay? And these differences really do make a big difference. And so here I've created for myself, again, very easily. You can just add a task. Leave for coast, But here I can also assign this, and I can assign it to, I'm logged in as Rafa, and I can assign it to Rafa, or I could assign it to someone else if they were part of this. If they were part of this as well, I could just assign it to them. And again, I can click on that, and it brings up they call it buckets in Planner. So it brings up the bucket that it's in, this kind of list here, they call it a bucket. The progress, the start date, the due date, the description, we've got checklists, we've got attachments. It's quite similar, very similar to Trello, and we've got different labels as well. If you want to label something, this label is urgent, you can just add a label like that and make it urgent and so on. But they've also added another whole heap of stuff. So I'll just go now to I'll just go back to my Planner Hub, and I'm just going to open up, seeing as it's Rafa, we have a plan for Rafa and his friends to go to Wimbledon. And you can see here that we've created different buckets. Okay, so we've got a getting there bucket, we've got an eating, sleeping bucket, activities, and admin. And there's a whole bunch of people that are a part of this group, and they've got different things assigned to them. So, we can see here about booking flights. I can check on that. I can make a comment, hurry up. We need to get going on this one. And I can see that the progress is not started. Now I can say, hey, actually, the progress is, it's in progress. And I can, of course, have my due dates and so on. And you can see here as well that it says show on card. So it's showing the description on the card. And if I want to, again, very easily, just like Trello, I can move this one to a different bucket, no problem. And I'll show you there are some limitations, like at the moment, we can't move it to a different board, but you can move it around very easily within this. And so there's a few other features though which are fantastic. I'll just show you. So you can actually see here group by bucket. Now I can actually change this to group by assigned to. And this is how we do it at Webvine as well. So now for all the ad hoc stuff, or the major, the kind of bigger picture stuff that we're doing, we can have this in a Monday morning. We just come and we just quickly look at who's assigned to what by just changing that view. And so we can see here what Rafa's got going on, what Angelina has on, and what Jessica has got on as well. You can see here as well that we've got this external user, and you can do that too. You can invite an external user in to be part of that, plan, and to add to that as well. So that is a really nice way of seeing what's actually happening. We can see here that Serena's got something that's overdue, so it turns red, and it's a really good view. So if I again change it, I can change it now to progress as well. So I can see here what's not started, what's in progress, and what is completed. So it's very, very focused around tasks. It's not like Trello where it's completely open to doing anything with it. So if I go now to charts, this is great, right? I can see here what's actually happening. What's been completed, what's in progress, what's late, and what's not started yet. We can see the different members and how they're doing. And so Imdervin, whoever that is late. Serena's late on something, and there's a task that's not assigned to someone as well that's also late. And so this is a really, really nice interface that you can have manage very easily. Now, I can also click on this, and I can see a whole list of other things here as well. I can add this to my favorites. I can also hide this as well if I want to go back to my board, so I can fit a bit more on the screen. You can't quite fit as much as you can on a Trello board on. They've kind of got a lot of space and everything, but it'd be nice in the future if there was a feature where you could just fit a bit more on, if that's what you decided to do. And but you got these different things. So what Planner is part of. It's actually part of groups, Office 365 groups. And so if you're going to create a plan, it also creates a whole group, which it has files, calendar, OneNote, notebook, and conversations. So it creates an email inbox as well. And so you have to be quite careful about that. And I'll share something really important about that in a moment. So just to show you, I did mention as well on the webinar that we would talk about to-dos, Microsoft to-dos. This is another feature from Microsoft, and it's available on, you can actually subscribe to this for free. It's an app on your phone, just like Planner is an app on your phone, and we can see it here. This is much more of a personal task list. You know, it's a bit more like that Outlook tasks, but nicer. So you can add new lists, like I've created a list here called Adelaide Trip, and added a bunch of things here. So I can click on, I can add a new to-do very easily, and I can also sort these by due date and a few things like that. So I can do a few things like change a theme and stuff as well. There's not heaps you can do, but if you want to just manage your own personal tasks, it's not bad. And if it starts to become smart as well, it can learn what you're doing. So if there's something that you're assigning yourself to do every day, it starts to know that, hey, and it does that for you. It organizes that for you. So it's quite separate. I would keep this quite separate from Planner if you were going to plan to use that. Let me just flick back now to this. So just to recap on Planner and what it's included with, it's on Office 365 Enterprise E1, E3, E4, E5, on Education E1, E3, E4, E5. It's on Business Essentials and Business Premium as well. And that's at least as of August 2017. These things can tend to change. There is the to-dos. Again, does the intelligent suggestions, has some emojis you can put in. You know, you can get a bit creative if you want to around that. Not sure how much personal to-dos you would want to capture on here, but I'm sure some of you guys would really want to go for it. And there's just a bit of an interface with the phone if you were going to use it on your phone, which you probably would mostly. Okay, so one question that comes up is, can I access my Planner tasks anywhere else? And what we find is that with Office 365, and we ran a webinar there recently, maybe some of you were on it, how to avoid chaos with Office 365, because you have so many applications and so much choice. And it's very difficult for users to get their head around what they should use. And if you suddenly open up Planner to everyone, it could create some confusion. And we recommend an approach where you can pull in your Planner information or other information into your intranet, into your digital workplace. So we have a ready-to-go intranet here called Ingeo. Certainly contact us about that if you're interested. But you can see here that we're pulling in tasks from Planner because we want to just show that up. Now, if I'm not someone that needs to use Planner, then we wouldn't bother. You don't need to see this, and you know, you can do audience targeting in SharePoint around this, so that you can show up the relevant tasks to relevant people. And for me, this is a really nice way of trying to decide which parts of the business are going to really benefit from Planner, and how can we help them with that, and which parts are just not going to bother, and let's not just present it to everyone. I think the critical mistake that IT do again and companies do again and again is, hey, we've got this new tool, everyone, here's how to use it, and do a little bit of training or something, and it just kind of falls over, doesn't it? So instead, we have an approach here of looking at the use case, looking at the particular needs of an area of the business, and then saying, well, Planner will really suit here for these purposes. And then we're going to show this into their digital workplace if that happens, so they can see what's going on. You can see here as well, we're pulling in Yammer as well. So instead of going off here to go to Yammer, you can see everything that's going on right in here if you're part of that conversation. We even have a Facebook feed in here. We've got Twitter and lots of other things. So I think this is a good way of pulling that information in together. What's missing from Planner? A couple of things right now. As of now, I'm sure this will all be, a lot of it will be added. But duplicating boards, can't do that right now. You can't move cards from one board to another. You can't see all organization plans easily. This is really a bit frustrating, I think. It's pretty weird. You have to go to people in Office 365, and then you have to do this kind of search thing, and then you have to search for other plans like that. You can't just see them easily. It's hard to find them right now. You can't organize them by due date that easily, or receive notifications that the due date has passed. You can't fit, as I mentioned, more than so many buckets on the screen. I think it's all a bit too wide at the moment. You can't change the task name on the card itself, which you can do in Trello quite easily. Hopefully that will change soon. You have to click on the card and then edit it. You can't save a board as a template. That would be really nice if you could do that. And you can't unhinge a plan from a group. Now, this is really important. Okay, a bit dramatic, danger sign, but really take note. So Planner is part of a group. Now, let's say somebody in your organization creates a group, and you go to Planner and you do manage to find that group, and you're in the marketing team and you see one called marketing, and there's one, you go, oh cool, no one's created any plans in here, but I see that there is an area for marketing, and you start creating your plans and you start doing your thing in there. Now, the person who has created the group at any point in time can go and decide. They might be using the group for storing some files, and then they might finish with that group and go, you know, I don't need this anymore, and delete it along with your plans that you've been so meticulously working on. So obviously, if you're in a small team, it's not really a problem. You should be talking to each other. But maybe in bigger organizations, there's definitely a risk here of that. So just be mindful of that, that you know, people can actually delete your plans. The person who's created the plan might also not know that someone is adding in files and doing some other stuff in OneNote there as part of that group. And then they finish with their plan and they go, yeah, I'm going to blow this away, and they delete it, and they delete all the files and everything with it. You do get prompted, hey, you might be, you know, deleting this stuff, but if they just think, I haven't saved any files, I'm going to delete it, it all goes. So just to really be mindful about that. So it's time for any questions. We just have a couple of minutes. I can stay on for a couple of minutes longer, but if you have any questions right now, please do pop them in. I'll try my best to answer them. Hopefully this has been helpful. Again, it's not meant to be all about every single tiny minute detail of Planner. It's more about how you can apply it and use it, but hopefully you'll have seen you know, how it works pretty well. If you need to contact us for anything, there's some details there on the screen. Okay. Okay, we've got a couple of questions here. So what's the main advantage of Planner over Asana? Thanks, David. Planner over Asana. Look, I think it's just more the kind of user interface and how you're comfortable with that. And obviously, it's part of Office 365, so it's not some other thing, external thing. You know, especially if you're in corporates, a lot of IT departments may not want you going off using something external to manage you know, sensitive information. So it's got, I suppose it's got that advantage. But for me, I really like the tiles and how you can drag them around and use them in that way. So it just resonates with me. Maybe other people are more list people. It's really up to you really how you want to do it. But I think because it's part of Office 365, I would imagine that is, you know, a big selling point. Thanks, David. And Julie's asked, does Planner integrate with Project? I don't know. I'd have to ask one of my guys. I don't think so. But there are, as John just asked, API, there is Graph API is available. And so that's where you can do things like how we've pulled it into Ingeo, where people can see their tasks or add new tasks and things like that. And I presume Microsoft will keep extending that capability as well. Again, I think that's really important. All right, guys. So just to sum up, make sure that you think clearly with your approach. Please don't just push this stuff out as a tool, and especially for IT people, they're pretty familiar with is pretty familiar with just pushing out tools and adopting them very easily. But for a lot of people in the business, it's just not how they think. And it's a bit like going into a hardware store and thinking, gee, what will I get? What will I buy? Will I buy a hammer, or will I, oh, look, this screwdriver looks good, without thinking of the project. You got to think of the project that you need to do. You got to think of people's roles and what they want to do, and then see if the tool fits for purpose for that, not kind of the other way around. I think the other way around is definitely more of a geeky thing that lots of us IT people like doing, because we like all this stuff. But for everyone else, they just want to get stuff done in the simplest way possible. And so having a good approach around Planner and only making it available to those in the organization that are going to use it well, I think is key. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me, and wishing you a great day, and keep in touch, and we will be running another webinar next month, as we will every month. So hopefully you can join us for that. Thank you so much.